A very good morning to you and welcome to Newsline, come to you live and direct from the Newsfirst Centre here in Colombo. You're joining me, Florine Rajendran, and I'm joined by former diplomat Bandula Jayasekara and former Chief Justice Sarath N. Silva.
Good morning, Florine.
Good morning, Mr. Bandula. Tell me, Sarath,
good morning.
How are you?
Yeah, now let's start. Since we don't have much time.
Yes.
But today we are not talking of the former Chief Justice's politics. We are not here to discuss his politics, but we are here to discuss crime and other things, what's happening in this country. Now, yesterday's papers were talking about impeachment of two judges, the pending impeachment. They say there's discussions, all the political columns have said that. Have you heard anything about it?
I also read it in the papers, Bandula, and I was quite surprised to read that. Because this
Why were you surprised?
Because this kind of thing should not be given the type of publicity that has been given. A process of impeachment affecting the highest court is a very serious matter. You can't speculate on that. When you say two judges are to be impeached, firstly it affects the whole of the judiciary, because that's the apex court. Then when they are under challenge, then it affects the whole of the...
But it was worse in the former Chief Justice, Shirani Bandaranaike's case.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you should repeat this mistake.
Yeah.
Now, Shirani Bandaranaike says at least impeachment motion was present in the normal course,
yeah,
and it went through an inquiry. But here when you speculate two judges without naming them, then all 11 judges of the Supreme Court come under that same veil of suspicion. So I think this should not be given publicity until the impeachment motion itself is presented, and only that should be given publicity, if at all.
So but you are not sure who the judges are.
Well,
like you said, yeah, we should. Yeah,
yeah, we are speculating.
Yeah. So which you say it's harmful to the other judges also.
Harmful to the whole system. People lose confidence in the judiciary.
Now coming back, now you were, apart from being the Chief Justice, you were a former Attorney General. So I want to see now the present Attorney General. He's under fire by the politicians, and even the public want to know what's happening. That is first to the avant-garde case. How do you see it? What are your thoughts on that?
That's correct.
Is he right or wrong?
No, that's correct, Bandula. He's under fire. There is no doubt about it. Now, avant-garde. The problem here, Bandula, is once again a lot of publicity was given in respect of this avant-garde case as one of the main instances of abuse of authority, of misappropriation, of fraud by the last regime. Then every time someone was questioned, there was publicity. Then suddenly the case is dropped, person is allowed to go abroad. So naturally questions arise. So the subsequent action doesn't match the previous attention and publicity that was given. So there is a mismatch there. But
it's still going on this presidential commission. They are saying the defense people have been questioned, Lanka, they've been questioned. So it's still on, but the AG says, look, there's no case, they are all free.
Yeah, so that's, now when you come to that conclusion, without any explanation as such, where there has been so much of publicity, enormous amount of publicity, and suddenly you say there is no case, the person can go.
But can the AG re-examine it?
No, correct thing, Bandula, is that you have to submit reports. The whole problem is non-compliance with the Criminal Procedure Code. Under the Criminal Procedure Code, when the police carries out investigation, they have to submit periodic reports to the magistrate. And now those reports are public. So then you know the progress of the case. And thereafter the AG can't take a sudden dramatic decision just to say that there are no further proceedings.
Yeah.
There has to be further examination of the matter. So I think what happened is this is very sudden. Suddenly it is notified that the man is now free to go.
You think he is influenced by some people? Everybody is influenced in this country, but you think is he influenced?
No, that's an unfair... whether he was influenced in the first instance to give attention, that's another question. So yeah, you can look at it from two points of view. So the thing is, when you give publicity to that level, then there must be a follow-up. At least a gradual process. The man is produced in court, then some other report is filed, then some time is taken, and then only the ideal situation is if there are no charges at all, this whole process shouldn't have started.
What about the other controversial case, KP? He says, okay, KP is not a terrorist, everything is fine, but KP is there. The previous government protected KP, these people are protecting KP, and AG says there's nothing, but people are concerned about this.
No, that's another instance. Now, KP obviously was a key member of the LTT. He was a financier. So he was arrested. The previous government didn't take action. Maybe they had an arrangement of getting information, and there were other factors that were involved. So now, once it is exposed, I think the JEP raised several issues with regard to him. So there has to be some kind of investigation on these matters. Once again, that investigation, the reports must be published, will be presented in court. Now this whole thing is a secret affair. On what information the man is arrested, on what information the investigations are carried out, the level of investigations, what is discovered in the investigation, all these are now speculative. So that is a serious thing. Then people lose confidence. What you say is correct, Bandula. People lose confidence in the system.
Yeah, because that's what people want to know, because this is even the ordinary people, they are discussing why, suddenly, like you said, there's so much of media publicity and nothing is happening. So, but, there is, AG is under fire and there's so much of pressure. Cannot he explain? Can't he go? I'm asking you, as a layman, I've seen an interview given by him to a newspaper, but he should, don't you think we have the right to know that he can explain his position to the masses. Can he do that?
That is generally not done. But this can be done. Now, if his officer went to court and informed the magistrate, these are the allegations on which we investigated. This is the evidence that we discovered. This evidence is inadequate at this moment to take further action. We will continue our investigations and see whether further action can be taken. If that submission was made in court, if I was the Attorney General, I would have asked my officer to go and do that. Then there is transparency. The whole issue is a lack of transparency. The AG gives foundation and says he is allowed to go. But this must be explained to the judge and leave the final decision with the judge. Then there is no problem. So this is the provisions of the Criminal Procedure Code which require these reports, and an officer to appear before the magistrate and inform them, this is the investigation that we have done, this is the report, this is the evidence. At the moment it is inadequate. We will continue and then take further action. So if you want to let him go abroad, let him go abroad. Yeah. Present evidence is inadequate to keep him in custody any longer. So those are all, but there must be transparency. Now what Bandula, what you are complaining is a total lack of transparency. One day there's huge publicity that there's very serious crime committed. Next day the man is released. Yeah,
moving on from there, see yesterday, by 9 in the morning, there was a daylight robbery. A bank down Dharmapala Mawata, close to Temple Trees, close to the Piti police station. That is one. And there is a huge crime wave. But this crime wave started during the previous government, and it's continuing and it's becoming worse. Child abuse and murders, so much is increased. Why? What's happening? Can't we control this? Is the police ineffective, or the politicians are not decisive enough to control it?
Well, both factors account for this. Bandula, this is, now I have to explain this a little more. Yeah. Now, our Sri Lanka police, the earlier police, the Ceylon police, was established by the British 150 years ago. It was one of the first departments established by the British. So they had a very well organized police force. We had training grounds, we had so many things. Now if you take the officers' mess, you must be passing. That's one of the best equipped places. So the police, there was an elite police force, and they were trained. There were experienced officers who were capable of handling different types of investigations. There was specialization. Now that thing, after the outbreak of the war in the early 1980s, the police force became more like a paramilitary force. They were armed. Earlier the police officers were never armed with these automatic weapons. They had a baton. The police constable.
Now you never see the baton.
Now the person who was carrying a baton carries an automatic weapon. Now that man is really fit to carry only that baton. Yeah. So he carries a, so now they have become a paramilitary force, and corruption also has crept in the process. So as a paramilitary force, that the level of investigation had dropped. Now very often, even if the person is affected, now several murder cases I have read in the papers, the person, suspect is arrested. Then they say suspect wanted to show us a place where the weapon was hidden. Then he went and
shoot out. And shoot out and he's gone.
Or he jumps over a bridge. Or I came across one case where I said near the Ragam railway crossing, he ran out, ran over the rail track and broke his legs.
So those are very lame excuses.
So now that's another investigation. Yeah. That is a lack of investigation. And the police also think we investigate, it goes to court for months and months, and this man comes out. So this summary justice. So that is worse. That is very bad. Because the wrong man may get caught in this whole process. The whole safeguard of a trial is deprived to that person. So that is what I am saying, the police, the training that was imparted earlier. We must have specialized investigators.
Do we have enough or good investigators like us in the past now?
No, the thing is, there are human beings.
Yeah.
There are officers. Now, you have to make them good investigators. You have to send them for training. There's a Scotland Yard, so many other police forces all over the world. Send them out for specialized training so that they will then impart this training to others. So this is in the short term you can do it, but you must have a long-term arrangement where these special investigators follow up on this.
But again, what I have noticed at this police force, they are used, to protect members of parliament, the ministers. Also, whenever they attend functions, they are like across the streets, thousands. And that is what I'm then they are tired, so they cannot do day-to-day, like look after the ordinary people. Now I know in some villages, when you go and make a complaint, they say, can you send us a vehicle? We have no vehicles, if you send a vehicle, that is what has happened. So I think politicians are to be blamed mainly for it.
No, that's of course correct. That's also upshot of the war. And now upshot of the war was the security was. Now today that security is unnecessary. Security is unnecessary. But now this is VIP police. Now VIP police is a wastage of officers, and sometimes the skilled officers are there and they are wasting their talent. So the police has really got, now we have got a huge number in the police bundle. There is a huge number. The taxpayer is coughing out an enormous amount of money to maintain this police. So we must get the necessary return for this. What you say is now daylight robbery like that. Daylight robberies have taken place. But there must be immediate action to show that this kind of thing is now deterrence. Investigation. Deterrence is absolutely essential in this process. One deterrence. I think you will come to this question later on of punishment. One deterrence is effective investigation. Now that is there in Europe. Effective investigation.
But again, now see, I remember when the Chief Justice, you were against some of the checkpoints. But don't you think checkpoints at certain important places are necessary? Even though we say we are at peace, terrorism is over. I think for the interest of the people, for like say to avoid this type of thing, like robberies. In any country there are checkpoints in different places. I don't see anything wrong. That's the interest of the ordinary people.
No, we stopped these checkpoints because there was quite amount of abuse and there was corruption. That's why we stopped. And Bandula, a person who commits an offence. Now Sri Lanka, you get a mesh of roads. Now with these mobile phones, you can easily find out where the checkpoint is. You avoid it. You avoid it. Now I'm sure you have friends who have a drink in the evening. If they find that the police officers are there and on the road in certain point, they take the other road. So so checkpoints by itself is not, but presence. Presence is important.
Even when you see a police officer, when you see they are a bit worried.
Yeah, that's presence is. What I said was be present. Don't unnecessarily stop people. Only stop a suspicious looking person.
But in other countries you have more police officers in civilian clothes. So that has really helped. You don't see the police. Even like in traffic, you don't see them. But they are there, they are protected. Now we have, unlike before, we have even cameras. But it hasn't helped as much as we wanted it.
Now these police officers in Mafti, that's a very important thing. Now I know pickpocketing was stopped in Peta at a certain time by all officers in Mafti. So they catch this person. Now today a lady can't walk. There's a lady here, but I don't want to say. You can't wear a chain or a bangle or something and go, and you are certainly at risk. Exactly. That's a very serious thing. Now there are certain people who specialize in this. So if you have a person in Mafti, civil, that person will follow these people who are doing it and they will catch them. So you must have informants. Another thing is informants.
So there's more intelligence.
Yeah, and no, earlier police ran informants. It was called running informants. Yeah. They are paid. They go and move around. They are also part of the criminal world, but at a secondary level. Yeah. So they are paid. Then they get information and give the police. So then the persons in must go and follow up and catch these people.
Now coming back, now there is a big cry in Sri Lanka because of these little children. They are abused. I mean, they are murders. People, majority of in Sri Lanka wants a death penalty, including myself.
Yes.
I want the death penalty. Now she supports it.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, don't you think as a former Chief Justice, we really should bring back the death penalty? What are your views?
Well, my views are probably coincide with yours. But I won't say it so bluntly and directly. I can't afford to do that. Now, death penalty is there in the statute book. This is not something that is newly introduced. It's there in the statute book for certain offences, mainly for murder. So certain offences it is there. So when it is there in the statute book, the general principle is it should be implemented because the law is that. The law is that. Now up to 1977, I can remember Bandula, I joined the Attendance Department as a Crown Counsel in 1968. Mr. Felix Das Bandaranaike was the Minister of Justice. Death penalty was carried out. At a certain stage, there were about 100 people who were executed in different stages. And the crime rate dropped. I know that. As a matter of fact, I know that. Yes. 77, Mr. Jayajawardena came and stopped this. Then with the
he wants to start the Dharmista Samaj. If I remind you.
And worse thing, some of these criminals were given a pardon also. And this pardon system came after that.
And of course, there are protests in front of judges' houses that we remember.
So this the death penalty. Now the deterrence of the punishment gradually went on. They were given pardons. Then you go to a prison. The court system got delayed. With the war, so many of our systems broke down, So
the judicial
systems, the police, all these things.
And the politicians abused it also.
Various things. So, and gradually, and when the war was going on, there was a certain amount of discipline. Yes. There was less crime, really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
There was less crime. We didn't hear of so many child abuse cases at that time. There was less crime. Now, what happens is that we have not adjusted to the situation. The police must adjust itself to a civilian police force, which is charged with prevention. First of all, if you take the police ordinance, Bandula, first thing is prevention of crime. Investigation is a secondary thing. First thing is prevention. What you can prevent, you must always take the extreme steps to prevent. Then only investigation. Now, in Europe, there is no death penalty. Now, a lot of our Amnesty International, all these organizations.
But our good friend America practices it.
Yeah, that's why I say Europe.
Yeah, I know, but I thought, the America whom we work very closely now.
Now, America is a different thing. I'll explain that, Bandula. Now, in Europe, the investigation system, I had my second degrees from European University. Now, the investigation system there is very efficient. If you commit a crime somewhere in Europe, there's someone that track you down. And the civil law system, the judge, the magistrate gets all the police statements and he starts questioning the accused straight away. You can't get away. And trials are very expeditious, quickly done. And the man is imposed the punishment. So, death penalty is really not necessary because the deterrence is there in the process of investigation. And effective trial and effective punishment. Of course, not the death penalty. That is a deterrence. That is a deterrence. So, now we don't have that deterrence. So, we have to have the deterrence of the punishment at least for some time. Now, I will call that's a qualification I make, Bandula. At least for some time, we have to have the death penalty until we get this other deterrence in place, as in Europe. Now, our Amnesty International will protest.
They'll protest at anything,
And Mr. Mangal Samadhi has gone and said, will not carry out. Now, he's giving into that lobby.
Yeah, but there's another huge lobby. A lot of MPs, a lot of ministers are saying we should bring back. And then even the president has said, look, I'll put it to the parliament. It looks like he is for I think he wants to end. This is what I get the feeling the president is for.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. At this present juncture, it is necessary. Now, I must mention this, Bandula, even without a question from me. This problem arose when I was Attorney General. There were several cases. You may be remembering this Rita John case.
Yes.
Where the
Modara.
Then Krisanthi Kumaraswamy's rape and murder case. All gruesome cases. There was an abduction case. G.C. Vikramasinghe. G.C. Vikramasinghe was abducted.
The Itkansman.
On his way to play golf in the morning. And 20 million ransom was paid. So we had all those cases investigated and the punishment was imposed. Of course, G.C. Vikramasinghe, there was no death sentence, we were not killed. But other two, then there was a public momentum. And President Chandrika Kumartunga appointed a committee. I was the chairman of that committee. And in that committee, took this report whether the death sentence should be carried out. There was a 3-member committee, one from the ministry, one from the... And I was chairman. We said that death sentence should be carried out because there are 3 reports. When the death sentence is imposed, there are 3 reports. One from the judge who heard the case. One from the Attorney General who carried out, who did the prosecution and sent the indictment. Thirdly, from the Minister of Justice who will take the social background. If all 3 reports coincide that the penalty should be carried out in this case, the President should carry it out without it. But if even one dissents, then President should stay his or her hand. So that was a very fair recommendation and it was virtually agreed. But unfortunately, Bandula, under our law, now the President has to give the date of execution. Under the earlier law, the judge gave the date.
So can't we get back to that? I mean,
amend the Criminal Procedure Code. That's another process.
Maybe so, like as politicians, they don't want to take that chance.
I was given a call from the President's office. Then the Secretary said, "Sir, we have to give a date." So I said, "Give Wednesday." This was my answer. Give Wednesday. Wednesday is the day of execution. Don't. So you don't have to give whatever day. I was saying somewhat in humor, but some particular day, and it is carried out. So this final decision, no one wants to take. This is the whole problem. Even when it is simplified and put in this form, even they don't want to take. There is, I think, some problem of conscience. And
but the people want it very bad because the ordinary people, they are the ones who are suffering. They are the ones who, whether be it in the city or the village, they are the ones who are suffering.
No, this is a duty. If you are holding public office, that's my perception, Bandar. If you are holding public office, you have to discharge your functions in keeping with the requirements of the office. You can't be having some conscience that is biting you or some other reservation that is some other thing. You can't do those things. So I think this is a problem. We must get this perception out.
Now see, going back, I mean, we have to discuss so many issues and so many subjects. Now, Geneva. Let's get to Geneva. What do you think? Do you see? And now see, it's a lot of changes. First there's hybrid, then they have talk of Commonwealth judges. Now they are talking of the domestic mechanism. Do you see as an intervention in the judicial system of Sri Lanka?
No, Geneva, really, it's a huge issue, Bandula. I think country has to grapple with that. Now, the Human Rights Council has been set up under the ICCPR, International Court for Civil and Political Rights. Now, it has gone way beyond this ICCPR. ICCPR is really to safeguard the rights of people. Really, ICCPR is there to safeguard the rights of persons who are accused of offences, and they give various rights with regard to that person. So that is how now it has come to a prosecuting. Now people should be prosecuted, punished, this kind of thing. So it is going way beyond the ambit of the ICCPR. So we have to be very careful. I think finally it will go on the undertaking of the government of Sri Lanka to implement these things. So this is a situation where some caution, extreme caution is necessary.
But yesterday Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has said that it will not harm and that will save the former president, the defense secretary and the forces. That he always said he will, people from the south, they would never betray another person from the south. He has said no, it's not harmful. Have you time to study that?
No, I have studied that. The thing is, as long as it is done under the prevailing law of this country, it is not harmful. But if we are going to enact new law, where we create new offences which are retrospective in effect, that's harmful. Then if you are going to have investigation mechanism which is outside the criminal procedure code and give this power to some other outside body, then that is very harmful. If you are going to set up a separate court for this purpose, that is extremely harmful. If you are going to get foreign participation in that court, that is absolutely taboo.
but I think things are not clear as yet.
Yeah.
Nothing is clear. Maybe we have to wait till the 30th, and then it's not very clear to us.
No, the resolution is now it's going to be a joint resolution.
Joint, yeah.
So joint resolution means I said the US input in that. It has very conveniently put the whole obligation on the government of Sri Lanka. It said the government of Sri Lanka is proposing that this mechanism should be put in place. We support that. So finally it will come as an undertaking of the government of Sri Lanka, and I think Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe's government should be very cautious.
But I wouldn't say President Sirisena or Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe, they are not fools, because they have to go to the people. They are politicians. You know, they have to stay in power. They have to go back to the masses. The masses would not support it. So I don't think they would make a decision, detrimental to the people of Sri Lanka.
No, the problem is, Bandula, when you undertake something, now this resolution will go as a joint resolution.
So we are committed.
Now the next session, it will be whereas, now
Yes.
you know the diplomatic jargon, whereas you have undertaken and you are not implemented. Now again we are back at that same point. So they will study all of these things and say you have not implemented this X, Y and Z. So this is the danger. As a diplomat, I am sure you are quite aware of that.
Yeah, I know. It's very difficult, when you deal with the US.
Yeah.
And everybody, so they would, like we are saying, they'll say, look, you are committed, you have to do this.
That's right.
But you cannot expect our politicians to act like that, because even though the former president has opposed it, he had, of course, mentioned, what his thoughts are. But still, they are not going to. It's understood, because people have to go back to the electorate, and then there will be members of parliament. They will not support it. They'll say, look, how can we go and meet our voters? They will not.
No, this should be very delicately handled. I followed Ravinatha Arisinghe's speech. I think there is a fair amount of sense in what he was saying. We should not do this in a way to promote this racial antagonism. We should do this in a way that will heal racial antagonism. So we have to appease everybody, the Tamil community as well as the Sinhala, Buddhist community, all these things. So we should be very careful in the steps that we take.
It's not an easy task.
Very, very difficult task. Now that we have touched it, it's a very delicate issue, and it is some issue. Bandula, my view is that it is going to haunt us for some time.
This Geneva resolution?
The resolution is going to haunt us for now. From 2012 it has been going on, 2013, 2014, now 2015 resolution. So it will go on until our friends who are promoting this get sick of it. It will go on.
Yeah, I think Sri Lanka is full of conspiracy theories. We like to be haunted. With that, I'll hand it over to you.
Yes, now it's time up to wrap up Newsline for the day. Well, thank you, sir, for coming here for the show, and thank you, Bandula, for coming here. Well, we'll meet you all tomorrow morning for our next edition of Newsline. Thank you so much for joining us. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Florine Rajan.